How you going? It's Monica Polemikos here, clinical hypnotherapist and psychotherapist. And I've got a question for you. Is there some area of your life, or many areas of your life, that you feel stuck? That you feel like you can't move forward, that you feel like, it's Groundhog Day over and over and over again? Because the reason why I ask is that I talk to many people in my clinical practice and in also my personal life that feel very frustrated with this one area, right? There's this one area that's a constant and persistent pain in the butt, and they just want to change. They want to get out of it, but don't really know how to move out of that state, don't know what their options are, or even if it's possible. And so today, what I'm going to be doing is sharing with you a couple of strategies that you can take away and implement for yourself to get unstuck. Whatever it might be in the area of your life, it might be many areas. But I'll give you a couple of strategies to get you unstuck so you can start to get moving on those things, and so that you can, start experiencing more joy and happiness and all those things that you want in your life, rather than repeating the same old patterns, the same old Groundhog Day. So the thing is that, when you're feeling stuck in an area, and when you're feeling stuck in the area because everything, like I said, seems like Groundhog Day. You feel like you're having the same conversations with the same people. Maybe you're wearing the same clothes and doing the same thing over and over again, even when maybe you've even promised yourself that you won't. So, I'm not going to eat chocolate today, but then you end up indulging, or I'm not going to speak to him ever again. But then you succumb to a text message and you just have to reply. So that feeling of stuckness is really feeling trapped by your own circumstance and by your own situation. It's feeling stuck in, sometimes in your own diagnosis of things as well, when there's something medically, wrong with you, whether it's, could be a health condition, arthritis or cholesterol, or even a mental health condition. So, I speak to a lot of people with clinical depression and anxiety, and they can often feel a victim and stuck in their own diagnosis and not believe that they can ever get out of that. And that's part of the reason why I'm, sharing these strategies with you today, because I feel it's an absolute travesty that when people are labelled and they get these labels, particularly, mental health labels or even intellectual labels, about their capabilities, that it actually limits them and it limits their thinking to think beyond that label. And so for many of us, that feeling of stuck is also a label that we give ourselves, and you can hear it through the language. So I just can't seem to lose any weight, or I just can't seem to find that job, or I just can't seem to quit smoking, or to feel any better, right? So and the thing is that why this is happening is that we're all creatures of habit, right? We like to do the same thing over and over again because it is familiar. However, when you're doing familiar things that aren't actually constructive or helpful, then it's not really a good thing. It's not adding to your life. It's not bringing you happiness or joy or even contentment. So the thing is that throughout that repetition of doing the same thing over and over again, yes, you're getting the familiarity and maybe a kick out of knowing what the day brings. But then when you break it down and you look at your day and what that brings, it's kind of like, oh, this again, right? And the thing is that, you get caught up in the doing. You get caught up in the doing in the 9 to 5, or the Monday to Friday, or the whatever it is. And what happens is that you get so familiar in those routines and patterns that you don't have any downtime, right, to think about anything else or anything different, and you don't allow that creative part of your brain to actually flourish and to brainstorm and to daydream. And it's really in that brainstorming part and that daydreaming part, which, you know, in our society we don't consider we don't put enough emphasis on it as a strength. We kind of think like, oh, that person's a dreamer kind of thing. So we don't put enough emphasis on it, and I think because of that, and because there is a stigma to daydreaming and to you know, thinking out loud creatively, is that we just don't do it. We do what's prescribed, we do what is in the procedure, and that's pretty much it, on average. And that's not to say that that's for everyone, but, you know, if you're experiencing some sort of stuckness, you're most likely following some sort of pattern of behavior that doesn't involve any creativity. All right. And so by not allowing yourself any creativity, accessing that creative part of your brain, you're not actually accessing the problem-solving part of your brain either, which is exactly the same side and exactly the same part. So what ends up happening is that, you know, you may have this problem, or you might have this stuckness, but you are denying the access to thinking about any of the solutions possible, right? And so if you're denying yourself any solutions, well, then you're going to remain stuck. You're going to continue doing the same thing over and over again. And remember what Einstein said. He said, you know, to continue to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result is the definition of insanity. And so I'm going to give you a couple of strategies to get out of that, because like I said before, you know, it's the biggest travesty to think that your situation, your circumstance will rule your life forever. I was talking to a young lady yesterday who has a couple of those, you know, mental health labels that I talked about. And when I was asking her what she wanted to achieve and what she wanted to, you know, get out of therapy, all she could say is, I just don't want to have those ruminating thoughts. I don't want to have those negative thoughts. And I said, yeah, so if you don't have those thoughts anymore, what will you have? What do you want instead? And she really struggled with that, because again, she's stuck in this stuck thinking and this stuck looping, and hadn't thought about the possibility of anything else. Hadn't thought about full recovery. Didn't even know it was possible. Didn't know it was possible. Didn't know that she could recover from depression and get a handle on it. And so she was blown away. And she's like, what, really? I can recover? And so that really brings us to the first point of how to actually get out of this stuck state. And that is, number one, dare to dream, right? Dare to dream something big. Dare to dream to think something else out of your situation and circumstance. Dare to dream the dream that is inspiring and fulfilling, right? Because when you dream, and when you think, you know, other than that circle, that stuck circle that you're in, that's the spiral, you are accessing the possibilities, right? You're accessing what could be. You're accessing all the different options that are available to you in this world and in your environment. And when you start thinking about possibility, is this possible? You create options. And when you have options, then you're not stuck in the situation that you're in, because it's not the only option. Now there are many, many options. Of course, yes, many of them may be hard choices or maybe not good options for you, but you have options. And so by creating options, then you create freedom of personal choice, freedom to do something else, freedom from the same stuckness and from that same, Groundhog Day. And then you can start looking beyond and exploring what it is that you actually want. Not just what you want to move away from, what you're stuck in at the moment, but what you actually want to move towards. And I've said this many times, when you're on a road trip, you first decide where you're going before you hop into the car and program the GPS. It's not enough that you say, I just want to get out of town. You've got to know where you're going. You got to know where you're going, so you know what to pack. You got to know, where you're driving to and what road to take. And you got to know that before you leave, before you leave the driveway or leave the station. And so, I'm encouraging you to dare to dream outside your current situation and circumstance. Even if all of those options seem so far out, just put them out there. Just put them out there. List them, say them out loud, try them on for a little while in your own mind, and just see what options are available to you. Because when you start talking about it and languaging it and interacting with other people and getting their advice and things like that, well, then options come up. But you're not going to have those other options come up if you're not having those conversations, if you're not languaging it, and if you're not expressing that you actually want something else. So that's number one. Number two is the second strategy is about, in relation to the first one, about, dare to dream and dare to create those options for yourself. The second one is about really looking for evidence that those options are possible. Okay? Those options are possible. So look for evidence in your environment, on Google, research, talk to people. Has anyone ever done this before? Has anyone done this before? And who are those people, and how can I cyber stalk them? How can I get to know their story and how they did it? And the reason why you want to do this is that if there's evidence of someone else doing it, then why can't you? It's a fair call. If someone else has done it, why can't you? If somebody else has gotten rid of all their anxiety and depression symptoms, why can't you? It's a fair question to have a look and to examine within your own mind. Because the thing is that when you get labelled and in this stuck system, in this stuck state, then it's really hard to think outside the box. These two strategies that I'm giving you about thinking and dare to dream and finding evidence in your environment that this is possible stretches your belief system and stretches and provides examples of, hey, you actually can change. You actually can have a different life. You can have a different scenario. You can have a different day. You can have a different wardrobe. You can have a different body, right? You can have different friends. And you can also have a happier, more enjoyable state of mind as well. So I hope those two strategies have been helpful to you. I encourage you to just try it on.